Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Sandra Esnamafen and I'm here for business. The Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Daniel Ugbamitete, has disclosed the Commission is dialoguing with the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana so that fund managers who have funds invested in specialized deposit-taking institutions such as savings and loans companies take back such locked-up investments. The Ministry of Finance had earlier disclosed about 4 billion cedis will be used to resuscitate the savings and loans as well as the microfinance sectors as the central bank embarks on reforms. Reverend Ugbamitete was speaking on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM.
We have what I call counterparty defaults. Okay, so let's say a fund manager invests money with a counterparty. So let's say a bank or a savings and loans company, or let's say a microfinance company, and the bank or the savings and loans company or the microfinance company runs into some difficulty. You'll find that can affect the ability of our licensed operators as the market operator to be able to get the funds. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why we've seen some of our operators having a lot of complaints made to us about their inability to pay them because of counterparty default. And I'd like to put out that the SEC, I'm sure you know that the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana have in recent times given indication that there'll be some kind of intervention in some distressed savings and loans companies, microfinance companies. That I think they did something for the bank, some of the banks that were in distress. I think we know about it, you alluded to it. And they'll be looking at the SNL's microfinance and all of that. So the SEC, we've started engaging with the ministry and certainly also with the Bank of Ghana.
So joining us on the phone lines now is Charles Mensah, who is a financial analyst, for a conversation on the capital markets regulations. Thanks so much for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Right. So as it stands now, we have broad guidelines regulating the sector. So fund managers cannot be told where to invest. Is it about time that we give some specific direction as to where to go, or there's something fundamentally wrong with the sector that needs to be addressed?
I think basically it's about monitoring, because most of the fund managers are licensed by Securities and Exchange Commission. And by extension, they all ought to submit returns on quarterly basis or monthly basis to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Because every fund that you set up, whether be it the ACK fund, be it ethical fund, be it the real estate trust, everything, the fund has to be approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
All right.
And therefore, when they take monies from potential investors or investors, whatever they are investing it in, when they submit their returns, it will show. So, in terms of guidelines, fair enough, you could give them guidelines. But then when they bring their returns, we have to analyze the returns, see where the funds are being invested into. And then if we have a research department within the Securities and Exchange Commission itself, we will see whether the investments or where they are investing makes sense in the end. Because it is OPM, other people's money that they are managing. And they must answer and answer right. They must monitor and monitor right. Any little challenge in terms of not monitoring them can raise more eyebrows for us.
I see. So having said that, could it be that somebody is not doing proper analysis of the returns, or just somebody is not doing his or her job?
I think naturally because like what Bank of Ghana Inspectorate Division reneged on their responsibility.
All right.
I'm not too sure in the past, and I'm not too sure now. But if there's any way that we can beef up the capacity unit of the Securities and Exchange Commission, so when the returns are submitted, at least they can look at it and look at it effectively. And then we can have a proper control in where do we invest people's money in. Because you see, anytime anything happens into small units, mutual fund and things, it affects the whole financial services industry. It affects the trust of individuals who either would have placed 10 CD, 20 CD to buy units.
Well said. But the plight of customers has highlighted some weaknesses in the capital markets, and it looks like there's lack of communication amongst the various institutions responsible for the sector. Do you see that as well? And what would be the role of the Financial Stability Council in all this?
I think the Financial Stability Council, if you look at it structure-wise, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to ensure that the financial services sector within the country is stable and is stable right. So their recommendation will go to the council, and they will look at it and make some recommendation to Ministry of Finance and the government, and then they will implement. I don't know really, but I think that what we need to do is to strengthen the monitoring capacity of some of these institutions. Because if you listen to Reverend Obama carefully, he said that it is the counterparty, third-party investment, and therefore the mutual fund firm or the fund managers invested in microfinance companies, and they themselves also grant loans to people, and they are not doing well. Look, if you set the criteria pretty well and you are monitoring them, because if I'm a fund manager and I'm giving money, other people's money, I always like using that word, because don't forget it's other people's money.
Right.
And you're giving it to microfinance, you ought to do your due diligence, make sure that they're investing right. You ought to have a way of monitoring, just like banks will monitor. Anytime you fail to monitor quickly, you have a challenge.
Right. You know, he also
affect everybody.
Right. He also mentioned that there's this twin peak regulation which is being practiced elsewhere in South Africa, where there are two institutions involved in regulations. So one is actually dealing with numbers, and the other on the market conduct. Is it something that we should be considering moving forward?
Oh, whether making it independent or coming under one, the same thing is about people doing what is right and doing it fast and time yours. Because even if you make it independent, so I was looking at the numbers and you are looking at the market behavior. It's about putting all under one umbrella and making sure that at least within the unit, everybody is doing its work. It's just like saying that we'll hive off the inspected unit of Bank of Ghana into an independent thing. No. It has to be under that roof, but people ought to do what is right and do it fast. That's all we need to do.
All right.
So it's high time we should have to highlight these things out properly, and we strengthen the unit that will do the monitoring. I think the monitoring unit of some of these regulatory bodies needs to be supported, needs to be beefed up, needs to be strengthened, that the people will be independent and speak what is right at the right time.
Thank you very much, and we are grateful for your time. Charles Mensah is a financial analyst.